and I'm on a Skype interview today with our chief dental editor, our technology editor, and our good friend Dr. John Flucke. How are you today, John?
I'm doing well, Kevin. How are you?
Hey, all good, man. Thank you so much for taking the time. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about a buzzword that's out there right now, and it's one that you and I hear all the time, and that is the digital workflow. And what's something as a dentist that whenever I say to you digital workflow, what are some of the first things that kind of pop into your mind about that?
Well, I think the first thing that probably pops into my mind, Kevin, is the idea of digital impression systems because that has changed the workflow in my practice. Um, we happen to use the iTero system, and it has shortened our crown and bridge appointments for preps. It shortened our cementation appointments because things are digital and they tend to go in the mouth easier with fewer adjustments and fewer concerns. And the fact that I'm prepping and then not spending an excessive amount of time tinkering with the actual impression materials, in an analog manner, but doing it with a digital system, it's a lot faster and it just makes things go easier and decreases stress, not only on the staff side and my side, but also on the patient side. So that's one of the things when I think of the idea of, I'm going to do the air quotes, workflow, because that makes me think of what streamlines my work digitally. But the other thing that I think a lot of doctors don't think about right now is the concept of where we're going with our devices and with service on those devices and such. We're moving now into an area where we're going to see more and more of our dental devices that are internet connected, that have IP addresses, that actually communicate with our supply companies or with the manufacturers. And I'll give you an example of one I have in my office, and that is the Statum G4 Rapid Autoclave. And that system actually is plugged into my network, and the system communicates with Getsy Dental, who is the supply company I use, and also who I use for service. And it also emails Sycan, who's the manufacturer of the device, and it also emails me. So when we run a cycle in that device, it sends me an email at the end of the cycle to tell me all the parameters, of that cycle, where the pressure and heat was and such, across the board. Like, I think it's every minute in the report I get. And then if there's any type of a problem that develops where maybe we need service, the device does a great job of being able to identify where the problem is with itself, and then it contacts Getsy Dental, and it also contacts Sycan and says, for instance, my gasket is starting to leak, and we're going to need a gasket replaced. And what's nice about that is that anybody that practices dentistry, we all know that when an autoclave goes down, generally speaking, you contact the service department. When they can get to you, which isn't always immediately, they'll come out with a loaner autoclave. They'll then load your autoclave, up in their service truck, take it back to their facility, and do the repairs, then bring it back. And it can really be a bit of a disaster as far as trying to coordinate and all those sort of things. It's so much easier when a device can say something like, my gasket is starting to fail, and then the repair person can simply show up in your office with the replacement part, put it in right there, and your downtime, it becomes minimal because it's just a matter of, taking the machine apart, replacing a part, and you're right back in the game. We're seeing more and more devices that are going to do that. Hand pieces are going to connect to the internet. Chairs already are. Plan Mecca has got a whole plan of devices that they're going to have that do this, and it's going to speed up our workflow and make things better and easier, because we're going to be more data driven as far as when do things fail, when do I need to plan for service, all those sort of things. In dentistry right now, frequently the time we need service is when something's broken. And what I'm hoping to see with all these internet connected devices is the idea of they'll be repaired, when areas start to get weak, but before they stop to function.
Yeah, that would be the best case scenario for everybody is to catch things before it's an emergency, obviously. So,
Absolutely.
well, John, thank you so much. You can read more of John's thoughts as well as thoughts from other industry leaders around the country on the digital workflow, where we're going, and what it means to your practice in a series of ebooks that we are developing and have developed. So you can certainly click to find out more about those below. And John, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it today.
Hey, it's always good to hang out with you, Kevin.